And we are live, and we're foggy. How you guys doing tonight? Just bear with me 1 second. I'm going to try to wipe this lens. There we go. So I might have to do that 1 or 2 more times. Sorry about that. We are doing the best job we possibly can here to try to get a full-length live stream. If you haven't tuned in before, this is day 7 of 30 for 30 sauna challenge. It is, hi Truth Provider, how are you? In a different sauna today, as you can tell. We're going to cheat a little bit. I'm in a one-person sauna, but it has a window. So I've done a couple things here. We're going to try to pre-cool the equipment, froze it a little bit before we started, and then I am mounting through the glass with the window open and a fan. So until the other live stream equipment gets here tomorrow night, we should be good to go. How you guys doing today? We've only been live for a few seconds, so I'm going to answer a couple of questions. Let me check the chat, make sure there's nothing in here. Testing. Excellent. Doing well today. So I put some show questions in the chat earlier today about 11 or 12 a.m. Or p.m. Sorry, 12 p.m. noontime, and for some reason YouTube deleted them. There was also a few folks that added questions to start the show with tonight. Those have also been deleted. I'm really sorry about that. I don't know why they do that. I guess if you have a show that premieres, 10 hours in advance, it won't hold the comments through the entire day. So if you guys would like to talk about something specific, if you have a question, I think I spoke to Dan earlier today. He's expecting some nice and group members to pop in. So if you guys have questions about that, either he or I can answer them. If there's something that you want to throw in for a topic today, just throw it in the chat box. I see a few more people coming in. I can't see who you are unless you chat or unless you put something in the chat. So if you want to just say hi, or if you have a question or anything like that, feel free. We're going to start out with a couple of things that I wrote down on a Post-it note, since YouTube likes to delete all my stuff. From yesterday, Alvaro had a comment for tonight's live stream. He wanted to know if it's unusual for a clear light sauna to take 55 minutes to heat up. Good evening, chat. Good to see you. To 124 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, I would say that that's unusual. The only thing is, I believe you're putting it in a garage that's unheated, and it's 61 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you have the door open and it's cold or anything like that, and the sauna is fighting the ambient temperature wherever it's placed. So it takes a lot more energy, it takes a lot more power to go from 61 degrees to 124 degrees than it does to go from, say, 78 degrees to 124 degrees. So is it unusually long? Yes, but it kind of sounds like to me, Alvaro, that you might be placing the sauna. Pure Being says, hi all. Tonight I'm in a Sauna Ray one person, Truth Provider. So just to close for Alvaro, if you want to pop in here, if you happen to be live and you have more details, like what kind of climate are you in, where are you located, how often is it that cold, what's your year-round look like, it'll probably either get better, or obviously if you're in a snow climate, it's going to get worse. I have some recommendations for you. You could insulate the sauna, you could heat the space, you could do a lot of different things. So happy to help with that. If you guys are just popping in, whatever you'd like to talk about tonight, if you have a question or a topic, just throw it in the chat, say hello. Good to see you all. Ben asked yesterday for tonight's show, he said that Matt doesn't like to recommend specific binder supplement brands, and I think I kind of do. It's not really important which brand you get necessarily, as long as it's good quality, like the Now Food stuff versus like Solar Ray or something like that. They're kind of in 2 different price ranges, but if you're just talking about getting something like activated charcoal or a binder, Air Force, I recognize your screen name. Hey. Your comments from earlier, I left them in the chat to start the show tonight with them, and they were deleted. So whatever you asked, I'm really sorry, but it's not here, and I don't remember what it is. I didn't get a chance to jot it down. So if you want to throw those in the chat, I'm happy to answer them. Just to finish off Ben's question, though, I do recommend specific binders. If you just Google Matt Justice Amazon and find my Amazon influencer page, there's a few supplements in there that I use. Activated charcoal, bentonite clay, Intros gel. You don't have to use all of those. Just 1 or 2 of them would work great. Doesn't even have to be those brands. But Ben also wanted to know about workout supplements that I've mentioned, like citrulline and Neutrosogene. That doesn't really have anything to do with sauna use. It's just my workouts right now have been brutal, trying to meet my weight loss goals for the end of the year, and working out 6 days a week, as I'm just sore all the time. So just trying a few things to try to improve that. And then Steven had a question. I'll get to you guys in the chat. I just saw him pop up. Just give me 1 second. Steven's question was, what's the best site to buy a clear light sauna from? I mean, I'm biased, of course, but if you go to CertifiedSaunas.com, I have the dealer that I have a relationship with, or we're not even allowed to say the lowest priced dealer anymore, but I think we can say, like, we can list the dealers that do price matching, but pretty much anyone that sells clear light saunas will do price matching. So anyway, I don't really know what's going on with the terms of service or dealer agreements at Clearlight, but they're kind of cranking down on that stuff. Pure Being, is that you, Dan? That's a different screen name than Get Detoxinated, but the icon looks the same. I kind of recognize it. CC says, any other suggestions for portable? Any price point? I don't really understand the question, CC or Chen. What do you mean, any price point? Like, I just put out a course at saunacourses.com. It's $10 to buy the DIY sauna course. And then you can buy the parts for like $200, and then it'll get you a heat lamp sauna. It's not going to be a sauna like I'm sitting in right now. The Therasage or things like that run anywhere from $800 and on up. They work okay, but I mean, it's a tent that you zip yourself up in and your head sticks out the top. So, I mean, I don't know, I don't know what you're looking for. I don't know what your expectations are. And I don't know what you mean by price range. But if you throw a few more details in the chat, I'm happy to try to, okay. Hi, Dan. How you doing? I'm used to it saying get detoxinated. It says Pure Being. For everybody that doesn't know, Pure Being handle is Dan. He does the niacin detoxes. They have the book on Amazon. I wanted to just say, and I remembered from the other day that it wouldn't let you put the link in here, but if you put the title of the niacin book, then people can just search for it on Amazon. I guess YouTube doesn't allow us to place links in the live chat or something like that. Could also be a setting, because I have issues with bots placing pornographic material and stuff like that in the middle of a live stream, and obviously I can't sit here and filter it and stay on track. So watched all your videos, understood your argument. Don't know what you mean, bud. Sorry. If you could elaborate a little bit, happy to help. Clay says, hey Matt, my wife has gadolinium poisoning and sometimes uses a Beamer box PEMF device prior to getting in the sauna when she does feel like shit. Okay. Are you familiar with PEMF devices and their healing properties? Seems like PEMFs would be bad for someone who's gadolinium toxic. I mean, I use PEMF devices and I have for years, probably over a decade. If you guys aren't familiar with Soda Instruments, I use a handheld, very direct PEMF device. I also have stuff like a biomat and things like that. However, I'm a little hesitant to agree or disagree with a blanket statement like PEMFs would be bad for someone who is gadolinium toxic. I think maybe Dan would be better suited to answer that question because he's helped more people detox from that, most certainly than I have. So his screen name is Pure Being. So if you see a comment from Pure Being in response to your comment, that's Dan. And you can find out more about what he does at getdetoxinated.com. You could also go on Amazon and look for their book. I'm sure he's going to put the title in the chat somewhere. Truth Provider says, is an air ionizer a good idea for a sauna? Improve air quality, perhaps. The ones that come with saunas, or the ones that they try to upsell you, the little cheap ones, they don't really do anything. I mean, to be honest with you, it's not a commercial quality unit. It's sort of like a gimmick. It's just, I don't believe there's any improvement from that. I mean, you would be, I can't speak tonight. You would be, maybe I need a drink. I think you'd be better off just ventilating your sauna, crack the door, open the vent on the roof or something like that. Unless you're talking about like an actual salt machine or something that's commercial grade. Natalie Ford, hello from Australia. Hi, Natalie. Good to see you. Air Force, could you please comment on Dynamic Saunas Bellagio 3-person far infrared sauna from Costco, Canada? I don't know, bud. Is that one of the new ones? I've had a lot of people ask me to buy. Dynamic has a new like sub-brand out this year, and they're calling it like ultra low EMF. I've had a bunch of people ask me to buy one of those and test it and see how it compares. Just haven't gotten to it yet. I will, but as far as the Canadian stuff, I don't have one of those, so I'd kind of be speaking out of turn to tell you, good or bad. A lot of the dynamic stuff you can see by the way that it looks, if it's similar to a previous model tested. If you go to my lifestyle blog, cleverleverage.com, and just search for infrared sauna reviews, or you go to certifiedsaunas.com and look at the certified sauna list, you can see some links to YouTube videos to all my old stuff from 2 or 3 years ago. And if you see saunas like Maxis or Dynamic, or there's a couple others too, like some of the Blue Wave stuff, most of those are made by Golden Designs. And if you're comparing something that has the free if you're comparing something that has the same style heaters in it, most likely the results are going to be the same. So not exactly sure what you're looking for either. You didn't put that in the chat. Are you just looking for something that is affordable? Are you, chemically sensitive? Are you EMF sensitive? If you don't have any health issues, you just want something cheap for longevity, probably can make some recommendations. CC Chen says, any other suggestions for a portable sauna? We're in a small studio apartment. Your channel is great. Any price point is okay. We just don't have the space or cabin type unit. Thank you. Yeah, it just depends on what you want. If you're just looking for a small space, I mean, the Therasage that I have over there works okay. The Relax works okay. The Synergy works okay. The DIY sauna plans that we just came out with work great. None of those are going to be like a wooden sauna per se. They're not going to have, the same type of insulative properties. And most of those are head out saunas except for the DIY. So it really just depends on what you like. You could build the DIY sauna for probably $250, including the cost of the course. You could buy a cheap infrared sauna tent from Amazon for $200 to $400, $500, like the Durham or the Serenity or some of those. I really wouldn't recommend those too much. You could step up to like a Therasage or a Synergy for the $700 or $800 price point. You could go for a Relax sauna at $1,200 or $1,300. I don't really think it's worth that money either. I think Dan has like a small sauna from one of the companies that I used to sell to. You could get one of those. I no longer endorse them, but he could help you with that. Here he is. Dan says he was logging into the other channel. Get detoxinated. We're rebranding under Pure Being. So I logged in with that channel. Facebook group is Sauna Detoxification using niacin. And just so you guys know, that is not the Smart Detox Facebook group. That's run by a different person. So they're very similar, but not the same. Let's see. What did I miss? If you're just popping in, if you have questions, which is the portable CC says, thank you, which is the portable you mentioned around $1,300? That would be the Relax sauna. So that guy's a little nuts with the testimonials. I feel like he's baiting people at the trade shows. He puts somebody in a sauna for 5 minutes and then they tell you how glorious it is. Come on. So I also have an issue with what you get at the price point too, because you could spend a little less money and get one of the same zip up tents and it works, about the same. Exactly. If you're EMF sensitive, then a PEMF device would bother you, which is why you want low EMF in your sauna. Clay says, yeah, I mean, PEMF, let me scroll up and make sure are you the same person that was asking about the GAD toxic and PEMF being a bad idea? Yeah, I mean, a PEMF generally is a really slow or a low exposure limit. Like the time that you use the device is really, really low. For somebody doing like the niacin detox or doing a 30 for 30 sauna challenge like this, or someone who's really, really ill, we kind of, we try to put them in the best environment as possible. The one thing that we really try to do is not put them in a sauna that has AC magnetic fields. Most of the saunas have DC, but like the one that I'm in tonight, this is hardwired with 120 straight to the heating elements. So the EMF in this is a little higher. I wouldn't like this sauna long term. That's something that I would pay attention to if someone is actually really ill. But as far as, I wouldn't be able to tell you if PEMF is worth, if the juice is worth the squeeze on that. I just haven't worked with enough people that have been in that situation and could physically see, did it make them worse? Did it improve them? Those companies are going to throw a lot of research at you and opinions and all that stuff. But unless you're truly working with somebody, either virtually coaching them or at the clinical level, I have a hard time commenting either way, because if you say yes and they don't use it and there's some benefit there for them, you're kind of screwing them over. And if you say no and the opposite is true, you're kind of screwing them over. So Deputy Do, love my Radiant Health sauna. Awesome. I love mine too. The only reason I'm not in it tonight is we've had a problem with the equipment overheating. So I'm using a Sauna Ray one-person sauna that has a little window that slides open, so I can put the camera and the equipment kind of outside the window on a glass mount. And hopefully we'll get a full 30 minutes out of here without losing the live stream, because everything overheats. So, and these ceramic saunas take a long time to heat up. If you don't see me sweating too much, I didn't really preheat this sauna too much, and they can take forever to really get going. So great for the live chat, not so great for my sweat session, right? Let's see. Thoughts on clear light saunas? I mean, what kind of thoughts? That's kind of a loaded question, Nene 2015. If you go to certifiedsaunas.com, not pitching you to buy a clear light or anything else, but if you scroll down past the certified sauna list recommendations, you'll see a bunch of links to some YouTube videos. There's a bunch of reviews in there where I'm in a clear light and I'm telling you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, what the pros and the cons are. I've got EMF testing. I think I've got usage videos and a few other things. That would probably be more helpful for you than me just kind of commenting, a sentence or two here or there. Clay Camp says, understood, thanks. Get detoxinated cell phone, not the sauna. Did I say the wrong thing? I might have. I'm not speaking very clearly tonight for some reason, but I also scrambled and just put this sauna together before we started the live stream. It was in the garage an hour and a half ago. So just came up with I saw the window and I was like, you know what? I think that could solve a lot of the problems. Do you have some new sauna reviews coming up? Yeah, all the portables. I nicknamed it the Portable Sauna Showdown. I was waiting to get the DIY sauna done so that we could compare what a cheap DIY solution that's under $300 could do compared to like a $1,300 zip-up tent. So now that the DIY is done, I've gotten the higher dose sauna blanket, which I'm not too fond of. And I would actually question, I have to use it a little bit more. They claim that you get a better sweat with clothes on, but I wanted to use it with no clothes on so that I could visibly see, like, how much am I sweating? Because if you just sweat a little bit into a sweat pants and a sweatshirt, how can you really tell, right? And how can you really feel the heat? So I've got to get some more, I was going to say seat time, but I call it a cadaver bag. So I've got to get some more bag time because it looks like a cadaver bag when you walk in the room. And my cousin helped me film the videos because once you get yourself zipped up in the thing, you can't move your arms. So there's no way that you could control a camera or anything like that. But I'm going to try it a few more times, and then we're going to do the Portable Sauna Showdown. So we've got the cheap $100 or $200 Amazon portable tent sauna. We've got, what's next in line? The $300 DIY sauna that I did a course on. We've got the $500 Durham in the closet. We've got the $700 or $800 Synergy, and we've got the same $700 or $800. Actually, I had the upgraded Therasage with the red light. Let's put red light therapy in quotes. It's a series of LEDs that are on the front of it, but the output is nowhere near a PBM device. I don't think it has the output to be a true red light therapy device, although it's kind of cool that they tried to integrate it. And then I have the Relax Sauna 2. I just let a friend borrow it. I'll get that back. And I'm trying to think if there's one other thing. There's one or two other things too. So there's basically between 5 and 10 portable saunas. We're going to do a showdown. I'm going to hop from sauna to sauna and tell you what I think, see what the differences are. That's pretty much the new sauna reviews that are coming up. If there's any new technology or any new products in 2021, I'll probably get a hold of them. I know Sunlighten released the Sunlighten Amplify series, but it's really just a signature sauna with a full spectrum heater in the front, kind of mimicking what Clearlight does. I don't know if that's, I guess I could try to find one at a spa and see if it's worth getting one and setting it up and testing it. But generally, just adding a full spectrum heater in the front and the rest of the sauna stays the same. It doesn't really warrant a huge change over last year, but if there is, I'm happy to test them out. Dan Get Detoxinated says, Matt, how did you get into sauna reviews anyway? It's a long story that I've told too many times, Dan, but I think the cliff notes are, I was having chronic sinusitis for years. I started to develop a little bit of fatigue, and I would just get sick every other month, and I'd go back to the doctor. They put me on antibiotics. I'd be fine for 3 or 4 weeks, and then I'd relapse, and then I'd relapse. And it was just like this chronic sinusitis that was completely driving my nose and my life crazy. And I had tried everything. I got into the neti pot stuff and nasal irrigation. I was going to have the surgery and do all this stuff. And then I kept reading that pretty much everyone that has the surgery either relapses or it doesn't really fix anything. So as a last resort, I started researching on my own, and I discovered mercury amalgam fillings and how they can be an irritant to the sinus cavities, well, the whole body really. I mean, this stuff. Other people may not know about the leaching from the fillings, and then they go down the esophagus, and then your good gut bacteria tries to fight this foreign toxic poisonous substance, and that screws with your gut flora and does all kinds of other stuff. So long story short, I got those removed from not a biological dentist. I really should have. I just didn't know any better at the time. But from the best dentist that I could possibly find at the time without being aware of the IAOMT certified dentist, which is I can't even say it, but it's IAOMT. And those are pretty much certified biological dentists the majority of the time. They do really good for mercury filling removal. So post-removal, got rid of all the mercury in my mouth, went to see a functional medicine doctor. We started running labs, we did blood work, we did all the saliva testing, we did all the hair mineral analysis, we did the urine, so we did everything. And she could definitely see that my mineral levels were completely off, and I had evidence of some mercury, higher counts than should have been in there. So we started doing some detox protocols, and sort of went well, sort of didn't go well. And then all of a sudden I walked into her office one day and she said, "You need to be in an infrared sauna like yesterday." And I'll never forget that moment. It replays in my mind all the time. And that's pretty much how it started. I went out, she was telling me to buy a $3,000 sauna space. And from the get-go, I was like, $3,000? I didn't even know what an infrared sauna was. This was the end of 2016. But I was willing to do anything to fix myself. So I ended up going and renting sauna sessions at a float tank place, and then started to research sauna sessions. I researched them before I bought my first one for about 4.5 months, almost 5. And then I pulled the trigger on a couple of different ideas, and they didn't work out too well. I bought a J&H sauna from Amazon, and it sucked. It was terrible. Then I bought a sauna from Costco, and it was okay, but then I started learning about the EMFs, and I was suffering from fatigue post-amalgam removal. And the functional medicine doctor, she did the best job that she could, but we could have done a better job detoxing me in the right fashion and in the right sequence, and I think that would have made a huge difference. So this is getting pretty hot. I'm just gonna open the door here. It's starting to get warm in here. Let's see, where do we leave off here? Any dome units that you like? I think if you go on YouTube and look for the Sunlight and Dome, it wasn't the best thing, but I mean, if you like that kind of thing, it'll work. I think the Clearlight is probably a little better than the Sunlighten as far as EMF is concerned. I think the build quality is about the same. There's only a handful of manufacturers that make them, so it's not gonna be a huge difference. It's kind of like buying a TV. You buy a really expensive TV, but how many manufacturers in the world make the screens? Not very many. Truth Provider says, "I prefer the design and use of your homemade DIY sauna than the corpse bag." Oh, 100%. The DIY sauna spanks the heck out of the bag. I'm hesitant to say that the DIY sauna spanks the heck out of the, some of the tent saunas, because if you stay in there long enough, even though your head is in there, they will work. I get a decent sweat, but really the DIY sauna works pretty damn good. It works way better than the cadaver bag. What red light therapy do you recommend? None right now. I'm trying to think of the brand that I have across the room. I can't show it to you. I think it's a mitogen, but I think it's imported from overseas, either Australia or somewhere else. They're hard to get. And I haven't used enough of them to tell you if it's worth spending the extra money. I mean, I think I spent, I want to say like $1,500 or $1,600 just for one body panel. But they're lower flicker and lower EMF than like a Juve. But exposure limit's relatively low. So, and you got to expect magnetic fields because you've got a heat sink with fans on the back of it and AC power running through the whole thing. So I'm not sure. I'm going to do a red light therapy series at some point, get a hold of platinum LED Juve panels. We'll compare it with the mitogen that I use. Dan says, "Thanks for sharing your story. It's amazing." Sure. I try not to get it too long. There's a lot of little details in there. I'm sure you can imagine from the people that you've worked with in your clinic. So I see a few more people popping in here. We're just covering questions that people have thrown in the chat. If you'd like to add a topic or you want us to talk about something, Dan from getdetoxinated.com is also joining us, and from the Niacin Facebook group. So if you have questions about saunas, detox, or anything like that, throw them in the chat. Otherwise, we're not sure exactly what you would like to hear. We're doing a 30 for 30 sauna challenge if this is your first time tuning in. So it's me in the sauna for a targeted, a target time, I should say, of 30 minutes for 30 days straight. So this is day 7. We're running pretty strong. Had one technical difficulty where we lost the live stream 2 days ago, couldn't get it back. But other than that, doing pretty well. Dan says, Zoom. Oh yes, I forgot about that. So we are going, Dan and I are going to do a Zoom call later this week. I'm not really sure. I think we're just going to kind of go back and forth about the niacin detox protocol. But really what I would like to do is forget everything that I know about saunas and detox and everything else, and ask Dan questions from experiences they've had with working with, tons of people in the clinic, doing the niacin detox protocol and getting people well from various things, because not everyone suffers from the same health conditions. And usually when I do that, we pick up a nugget or two that's extremely valuable from somebody who has hands-on experience, instead of a lot of these guys that put up YouTube videos that really don't, it's kind of like the sauna stuff, right? Like I complain or make fun of and have a lot of, I have a lot of things to say about people who talk smack about certain sauna brands and they've never used them, right? They just kind of sit at their computer and say, oh, well, the website says this, so this sauna must be like this. And one of the things that I would like to talk to Dan about and kind of probe him is, there are some discrepancies between the Scientologist's original niacin detox protocol, and they don't use binders. I'd really like to ask him about that. And also, Dr. Yu has some, I don't want to call it propaganda, but he has some marketing videos from how they were able to detox the 9/11 firefighters using saunas, niacin, charcoal. But that's really a simplified version of the protocol. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Dan's father was involved even during that time. There's a big difference between just doing, Dr. Yu's simplified version, like, you hop in the sauna, you take niacin, and then you take charcoal as a binder. But the entire protocol is much, much more involved. And there's a lot of things in there that can grab certain stuff from the gut. And if you skip those, I'd like to ask Dan what his experience has been with that. I don't want to call them patients, because none of us are actually, doctors or surgeons. We don't give medical advice. Full disclaimer here, if you're looking for medical advice, please see a licensed medical physician. None of us are doctors, and we don't play them on the internet, as Tim Ferriss would say. Let's see. I'm skipping around here. Natalie Ford says, I've ordered a 1-person Premier Clear Light sauna. When it finally arrives, how long do you recommend I do it, and how many days a week? Thanks in advance. Natalie, do you have any health contraindications, or do you have any health troubles? You're just doing this to improve longevity, stay healthy? The reason that I ask is, if you are health compromised in any way, the real thing that you should do is to just treat your body, just be very gentle with yourself. Every other day is fine. 3 days a week would be a good start if you're health challenged. And if you start to feel bad, you might want to look into either lessening that or looking and seeing if you have any toxin or gut issues. And if so, start getting educated on binders and how that can help you. There's been a lot of times that I have done free private coaching with various folks that have purchased saunas, or somebody that I was just trying to help for free via email, and they would get really sick when they would use a sauna. They would purchase one hoping that it would help them. And one of the things that they would incorporate, excuse me for just 1 second, is binder therapy. And basically, most of the time, they were just kind of compromised, right? So their body wasn't functioning properly, their detox pathways were closed, and they weren't doing anything to necessarily fix that. So then you get in a hot box, I'll just call it a hot box to be fun, and you're stirring all this stuff up, you're encouraging lymphatic fluid exchange, you are beginning to basically dislodge things that have been stored away for quite some time. Maybe you haven't been exercising for a while. So now you're sweating as if you're exercising like crazy. but your detox pathways aren't working that great, and you start recirculating toxins, and that's usually when people start to feel sick. So just doing light binder therapy or doing something advanced like Dan's niacin detox protocol would be a good idea to look into and get educated on. And I don't know if that's your specific situation, but I'm just elaborating a little bit in detail in case there's somebody listening that doesn't quite feel comfortable commenting. And I'm just very cautious about making specific recommendations without backstory so that people don't get screwed up. So Dana says, if you go back 4 years in Matt's videos, he has some sinus videos and you can see how much he suffered. Yes, that is definitely true. I used to be a chronic neti pot. I've done everything. That thing where you snort lime juice and curcumin or cayenne, that is awful. Truth Fighter says, so that MRI contrast stuff is bad news. Good to know. Yeah, I would definitely say so. How do you afford to buy all these saunas? Well, in a past life, I've been very blessed. So that's how. Actually, I should tell you a little bit more about that. How can I say that in 2 minutes or less? Because it's a long story. Like Dan asked earlier, I was already fairly successful before I got into any type of health content. But when I had health troubles, that became very real. And one of the things was every time I was going to see the functional medicine doctor, it was like $400 a visit, right? That doesn't include the initial labs and the follow-up consultations and all this stuff. And it also doesn't include the name brand like Zymogen supplements that they want to sell you that are 6 times the cost of things that you would buy on Amazon. So being the kind of analytical individual that I am, I thought to myself, how can I make this so that I can get the health equipment and the service and all this stuff that I need and write it off, right? Like, how can I turn this into a business expense? So one of the ways to do that is to figure out a way to incorporate or take something from a little side hobby business to try to generate a profit from it. So once I was able to do that, I came up with a plan to turn my blog into a lifestyle blog, and then everything that was associated with the blog became a business expense. But you have to do stuff at least to try to generate a profit. Otherwise, after about 3 years, the IRS doesn't really look at a hobby business the same. So if you've got, I don't know, $80,000 a year in expenses, and you've been doing that for 3 years, and there's nothing on the books that shows that you've even intentionally tried to sell anything, not a good situation. You can't do that forever. So got to make a little bit of money in order to write off, a substantial amount of money. So that's kind of how that part started. Dan says, perfect, doctor, you learned from my dad. Yes, we've talked about that before. I'm sure Dan can elaborate on that for you guys also. And I think somewhere they talk about it, like either in the book, Dan's website, getdetoxinated.com, or the Facebook group that he put earlier in the chat. CC Chen says, do you have any thoughts about the sauna's effect on testosterone or fertility for men? Not really. That would be more red light therapy. A lot of it's anecdotal. Most people don't get labs pre and post either sauna or red light therapy, especially men for testosterone. But there has been, if there is one thing that I've seen that's consistent across the internet, it would be men saying that their sex drive is up from using red light therapy naked for 10 minutes a day, sometimes twice a day. And that seems to be very, very consistent. You can find a few and far between where people have backed that up with a little bit of labs, but most of it seems to be placebo. And I'm okay with that because this is not just a couple of people. This is hundreds or almost 1,000 people. You can find this stuff in Facebook groups, on forums, and everywhere. It's easy to find. Blue Devil for Life says, I bought a clear light Premier and get a draft from the bottom hinge on the door. It creates condensation on the door. Is that normal? If not, do you know an easy fix? Yeah, it's pretty normal. If you have a draft in any of these saunas, it's going to create condensation because of the moisture coming out of your body, but it's not a big deal. The next sauna session will dry it out. Even if you spill water all over the floor or something like that, it's a lot different than having a steam sauna or something that introduces moisture into the heating process. If it bothers you, you could probably either see if there's a way to tighten the hinge, either replace the seal if it's smashed. So, or I don't know if that particular model has a seal in it actually, but most of the time there's a felt seal. And if that doesn't answer your question, just put more details in there and I'll see it. Natalie Ford, all of that plus some arthritis in hips, losing weight would be a plus. Let me see what you said there. Okay. Sorry, I said too many things before I read your first comment. So yeah, if you're not, I mean, basically what I said, if you just listen to your body, that's the real answer. No doctor or sauna person or detox expert or whatever could give you any better advice than just listen to your body. Try it, be gentle with yourself. That's the best thing that you can do. Go slow. And then as your heat tolerance improves, you're going to improve. It gets easier and easier. Just like working out. If you haven't worked out in 5 years, first time to the gym is pretty hard. Watch your electrolytes, magnesium, potassium, things like that. Gone Seven Cero or Chero. How do you say that? Drink a lot of water if you want to be consistently using the sauna. Natalie Ford, yes. And I recommend electrolyte supplement at the very least if you're not drinking enough fluids. MD says, hey Matt, my wife and I just bought a Radiant Health Elite 2-person based on your review. It should be here at the end of the month. Looking forward to it. Thanks. I hope you love it. I'm not in one tonight. I usually am. The only reason I'm not in it is because the equipment's been overheating. But my parts come tomorrow, so hopefully tomorrow night I'll be back in the Radiant Healths. I do prefer them. They're more comfortable, and I like the heat in them. This is kind of a weird, I don't know if you guys can see this. I mean, it's not a fair sweat comparison because I have the window open to keep the electronics from overheating, but we've been live for 35 minutes straight. This sauna is on max, and if I did this with the Radiant Health sauna and had the door cracked, I think I'd be sweating a little more. Let's see. Nene says, I'm so used to the saunas that heat up to 185 and higher, the ones you can add water to the coals for that burst of steam. Do you think a Radiant Health would get hot enough for me? I would, man, I'd hate to say yes and you think no. I wouldn't want to mislead you in any way. When someone's in your situation, the best thing that you could possibly do for yourself is to find a health spa in your area that has an infrared sauna. Doesn't matter what brand it is. Go to that place, rent a session or two, try it, see if you like it. And there's one key thing to pay attention to. Sometimes the staff at health spas isn't well versed in preheating saunas. So when you make your appointment, ask them to preheat the sauna for at least 30 to 45 minutes before you arrive so that you know that it's actually working well. Try that for a couple of times and then ask them what the brand is when you're there. And if you like that, you can reach out to either Dan or I, and we can give you some recommendations of other brands that would be very similar. So just write down whatever type you used, what you liked, what you didn't like, and then you can match that up to other things. And if it turns out you don't like it, then that's pretty much your answer, and you're not out thousands of dollars. And we're not recommending something that's not really the best fit for you, and it's hard for us to say without being with you or having more details or getting more personal, you know what I mean? 70 says, I want you to talk about which barrel indoor traditional saunas to buy, please. I don't know, bud. I'm not a huge traditional sauna person, mostly because in the past couple of years that I've been doing this, I've been in condos and things like that. And some of them are, I don't know if you know much about construction, but the last two were tilt wall construction, and you can't just hire an electrician to come in and use a jackhammer and put a conduit through the wall to have 220 installed in order to get a traditional sauna installed in the place. And so that's the first roadblock. And if you're not going to stay there long term, anyone would be crazy to do stuff like that. So I'm kind of stuck on infrared saunas for now. I can talk to you about barrel saunas if you're going to put them outside. One of the things to look for if you want a barrel sauna and you're going to place it outside is a shingle roof covering the barrel slats on the top half. They're probably going to be more expensive than you want them to be, but over a long period of time, the slats kind of shrink and expand, and they begin to leak. So if you don't have a supplemental roof over the top, if it's not placed on a lanai or something like that, or you don't buy a higher quality one that has at least shingles, kind of comes down about a quarter to half the way on each side, and then it's just wooden slats from there down. That gives all weather protection, and it allows the slats to expand and contract without compromising the weatherproofness of the, I guess you could do that yourself. I didn't think about that. You could buy a cheap, I never thought about that before. You could buy a cheap barrel sauna, put it outside, and peel and stick the roof, and then put shingles over that, and you could weatherproof it yourself if you wanted to save, $1,000, $1,500. But I don't know too much about the different models and pricing and stuff like that. You would have to do your research, and I wouldn't want to mislead you by just throwing a brand out there, because I've seen some brands have a cheap product line and an expensive product line. You tell somebody to go buy that, and they just pick whatever looks good, and then it turns out to be terrible, and then you kind of feel like crap because it wasn't really that great of a recommendation. MD says, make sure if your doctor orders an MRI with contrast that is actually needed. They order them all the time with contrast and is not needed for what they're looking for. I would totally agree. If you're not in an accident or you don't have some serious health condition that can't be at least worked on or improved on, you really shouldn't be getting MRIs all the time. Like, it's not a great idea. Truth Provider says, Matt, have you ever accidentally fallen asleep in a sauna? If so, did you melt? I like the comment. You're funny. No, I've never, I can't fall asleep in a sauna. It's too, I mean, it's sweating. If it gets too hot, you're shortness of breath. And most of them have a timer. It's going to kick off after 60 minutes on its own anyway. But the funny stuff. Jessica Oak says, what temperature should I start when I first get my sauna? Well, Jessica, there's two ways to really do that. One of the ways is just to crank the sauna up to max and then crack the door in order to keep the heaters on all the time, but control the temperature without kicking in the thermostat. That's what I do personally. But my favorite temperature is about 133 degrees if I'm gonna do a long, gentle session. Really just depends on what your goal is. If you wanna shock your system, preheat the sauna for 45 minutes or an hour, get in and then, try to do 15 minutes to 30 minutes, whatever you can tolerate. If you want to do it the easy way, only preheat the sauna for 10 or 20 minutes. It's going to feel really cool when you get in, but it's kind of like the old analogy of the frog jumping out of boiling water. If you put it on the stove or try to drop it in boiling water, it jumps right out. But if you have it in cold water and then you slowly heat it up, it stays in because it doesn't sense the difference. And you can sweat profusely at low temperatures. You can stay relaxed for longer, and that's probably my recommendation for someone that's just starting out, especially if you don't have experience doing this. Everyone says thank you for feedback. Thanks, MD. Yes, thank you guys I like it when you reply to other people in the chat too, because let's face it, no one knows everything themselves, right? Like, I don't know everything about saunas. I try to do my best, but there's things here and there that slip through the cracks or stuff that I haven't experienced or what have you. So it's great when other people can, and I'm assuming that MD is some type of doctor. I don't want to say, but I don't want to speculate, but CC Chen, looking forward to seeing EMF readings of the relaxed lie down sauna. Looks more interesting than sunlight and solo. Low EMF is priority. We're not going to find low EMF in a relaxed sauna. Doesn't matter which one. If you go on YouTube and you type in relaxed sauna EMF, you'll see a video that I did for somebody. It was private, but I made it public so that you can view it. And the way that their fans are, they have AC magnetic power, or AC power going to fan blocks underneath your feet, and those have AC magnetic fields associated with them. So you're not going to find low EMF in an environment like that. MD says, I work in MRI and I'm surrounded by static electromagnetic field all day. I was happy to see radiant health at such low levels. Great, that's awesome. I was thinking about something. I've been against these devices for a long time, but there's some people that are claiming, it's all anecdotal again, there's no research to back this up, and any hardcore building biologist would not agree with what I'm about to say. But if you haven't looked at the Sauna or a couple of other devices like that, they basically produce frequencies like the Schumann resonance. And I used to inject Schumann resonance into the electrical system in my dwelling a long time ago. And there's a lot of people that report, because they're exposed to that stuff, work in hospitals all day long, that just having a device like the Somavedic little round thingy helps relax their nervous system when they're home because of the length of their exposure throughout the day. Now, here's the caveat. A building biologist would get out a set of EMF meters, body voltage meter, and a few other things to do a scan of a room. And if you put the Somavedic in the room, it is not going to lower or lessen the EMF from the source. So technically, they say that anyone that says that a device like that mitigates EMF is pretty much lying. However, there's a lot of people that are saying they feel better. I don't know if it's just placebo, but for your particular situation, it might be something you want to look into. Because if that was me, I would take a placebo all day long. And something tells me even though you're not lessening the actual EMF at the source, there is something to having the right frequencies in a room. Let's see, Curtis Copa says, a friend moved and gave me a 2-person Golden Designs model. We enjoy it, but we're wondering how much better a Radiant model would perform. Any ideas of what the benefit would be? How old is it and what model is it? You probably... There we go. Okay, sorry guys, we're overheating again. Give me just 1 second. I've got the door open. We're gonna let this cool off. Sorry about that, but at least I was able to get back in the chat today. Yes, back. Let's see, let me turn that off. Okay. All right, sorry about that. I thought we were good to go tonight. I specifically spent an hour putting this sauna together just to do this, and thankfully the YouTube gods let us back in tonight. The other day when this happened, I couldn't reconnect to the live stream, but it was a Friday night. I think the bandwidth was just overloaded, and let me see if I can pick up my dog Saunas with me every day. That is awesome, W-do. Love dogs here. Let's see. So I was talking to Curtis about the... Yeah, I don't know if you would notice a huge difference, Curtis. It depends on what you have. Truth provider, appreciate that. My dog wants me to get an MRI scan. Remember what you said. Matt, did you try the float tank soaks? I did. It was pretty cool. I have not yet. I only went there to do the sauna. Dan says, Matt, for my audience who are just learning about you, can you please just share the 2020 certified sauna list? Yeah, you can find it at certifiedsaunas.com. It's easy. Or if you just Google certified sauna list, you can find it on my lifestyle blog, Clever Leverage. But really, it's the Radiant Health sauna brand, it's the Clear Light, and it's the High Tech Health. The High Tech Health are by far my least favorite people. They're the ones that talk, the most shit about me, other healthcare practitioners, and all this. They're also the most expensive, most difficult to put together. However, true to form, the equipment is better than a HealthMate. So for somebody who is working with a functional medicine doctor and they insist on them using the same sauna that they have in their practice, which sometimes is a ceramic sauna, the equipment is still good, so I keep them up there. The other two are great to work with. Let's see. CC Chin, thank you. Looks like Therasage seems like a reasonable choice. Not great, but okay until I can get back in my infrared at the gym. Yeah, if you just want something, CC, if you just want something cheap until you can get back to the gym, go to saunacourses.com, click on the DIY thing, buy my course for $10, or email me if you don't want to spend the $10. I'll just give it to you for free. And buy the parts on Amazon and build the DIY thing. Look at my videos on YouTube. It works like gangbusters. It's not pretty, but it works awesome. And if you need to collapse it or take it down or whatever and move it, you can. Gone Seven Chero says, I recommend for everyone to try stretching, bodyweight workouts, planks, push-ups in the sauna. It helps losing more water mass to look shredded, helps to build muscle. For those of us that have a sauna that's large enough to do that, that's a great idea. I personally don't have a yoga sauna because I can't get 20 amp service in these rooms, so I have smaller ones that'll work on a 15 amp circuit. Truth Provider says, phone meltdown, overheated. Dan says, video locked up. Yep. Yeah, I really do. Now, I've got equipment coming tomorrow to do a hardwired thing off the computer, and then all the electronics will be outside the sauna. I'm going to have to test it and get back to it, or make sure that it works, but I think it'll be a lot better. MD just Googled it, looking into purchasing a Somavedic. Thanks again, Matt. I'm not a doctor, MD. My last name is Judicials. Got it. Yeah, I don't endorse Somavedics, but I've heard about other medical practitioners, or not practitioners, other medical staff members that work at hospitals and stuff, saying that they're bombarded with, the blue fluorescent lights, all the EMF in the hospitals and everything else all day, and it helps them feel more calm at night. By no means am I endorsing the product. I don't have one. Just thought maybe it'd be a good fit for you. And the building biologist, full disclosure, the building biologists that I work with and some of the ones that trained me on testing EMF would, say to throw that thing in the trash because it's not mitigating the source. However, I try to be open-minded, and if a lot of people are saying it makes them feel better, it might be something to check out. Curtis says, I just had to log back on. You started responding and it froze. Yeah, overheated, Curtis. Sorry about that. Which Somavedic did you use? I have not used those. I just used to have a Schumann resonance generator, and I use a lot of other weird stuff, probably for the last 15 years, like a brain tuner, different things like that. Weird stuff. Neurophone. How many assembled and non-assembled saunas are you in possession of right now? Oh my God. I wouldn't be able to count them. Are you talking about wooden ones, portable ones, bags, tents? What are we talking here? Total? A lot. More than you can fit in a residence, I can tell you that. There's a reason why this thing was in the garage, unassembled, leaning up against the wall. I usually have anywhere from 4 to 5 wooden saunas on hand at any time, 4 to 5 portable sauna tents. Just been accumulating this stuff to kind of do the comparisons, but I also get rid of them sometimes. I sell them, I give them away. Whenever I do whatever I need to do with them, unless I really like it, I keep it for myself. The Radiant Health ones I always keep for myself because those are my favorites, and they're also a good value for people. So when people see me in them, They tend to ask more questions about why I like them, and then I can just kind of turn around and show you, as opposed to being in something like this, which I probably wouldn't recommend. It's not the worst thing, but it's not, I don't know, it's not that great. But probably 15 to 17 at any one time, Dan. If you guys are still tuned in, we're going on 49 minutes now, probably going to wrap up pretty soon. Try to get out of here before the hour mark. We're doing a 30 for 30 sauna challenge. It's me in the sauna for a target time of 30 minutes for 30 days in a row, both to also get my sweat on and get back into a routine, and to bring you guys some helpful content, answer questions, and bring more awareness to heat therapy. No sales pitches, nothing for sale. I will reference stuff where you could buy stuff, and I have associated relationships with that, but no hard pitch. No push for you to even use infrared saunas. Just be sweating. That's my motto for this month. So traditional sauna, portable sauna, infrared sauna, steam sauna, wood fire sauna, sweat lodge, whatever you want. Just be sweating. So that is definitely the message here that we're trying to put out. If you guys are just popping in and out, Dan from getdetoxinated.com is also on. He runs a niacin Facebook detox program. They've got books on Amazon. He throws, I don't think you can put links in the chat. I mentioned that earlier. YouTube won't let you do that, but he puts the name of the book or the name of the Facebook niacin detox group in there. If you want to learn more about that stuff, get connected, check out what he does. He's got courses, training programs, books. They also do actual physical sessions at their facility in Sacramento, California. So if that's something that you're interested in, and then we're going to be talking more with Dan one-on-one on Thursday. I think Thursday afternoon, we're going to do a Zoom call. We're going to dive deep into sauna detoxification using niacin. Thank you for putting that on the screen. Good timing. And I'm going to ask him some questions about his father's, not only his research, but some of his life's work, some of the I gotta stop calling them patients. Some of the patrons, no, what would we call those folks that come into the center to do the protocol live with you in Sacramento? But anyway, if you'd like to learn more about that, I'm sure that'll be up for replay. We'll probably put that on Dan's channel and mine. Okay, so I can say patients. I just didn't want to throw anybody under the bus there. Dan says clients. Okay, that's a good idea. Thank you. Truth Provider says, I've been in about 12 different kinds of saunas. They are awesome. That is highly unusual, Truth Provider. What kind of saunas have you been in? Usually, I'm the only person that's been in 12 different saunas. Most people have been in like one or two, the one at the gym, the one they used at the hot tub store, maybe the one they could find at a spa, and they still don't know what to buy. So talk to me about that. What have you used? What'd you like? What you didn't like? Tell me those. Deputy Do says, I'm actually watching from a sauna. Yes, that's the goal. Yes, if we can get other people to participate, you don't have to do 30 minutes a day for 30 days, but if we can just inspire you to incorporate more of this in your life, make it habitual, make it a ritual, you're going to get the benefits that you need. And sometimes, I fall into ruts. I have all these saunas and I do all this stuff, but to be honest with you, sometimes I work on this stuff all day, and the last thing that I want to do in the evening for myself is do a sauna session, because I've been in them recording, doing calls, doing FaceTimes, answering questions, working with companies, doing product reviews, and I just don't want to look at one, much less be in it and sweat. So I get benefit out of pushing myself to do this also. It's not the funnest thing to do on a Friday or Saturday night, but I get a lot of joy out of seeing you guys and some of the private emails that I get. I like it when people thank me for the information and stuff, but what's really cool is to see somebody actually get some sort of improvement or transformation, or, be struggling with something like I was in the past. Oh yeah, man, the passion is from pain. I can tell you that, Holly. But that's cool, guys. So probably going to sign off pretty shortly. We're coming to a close. We're at 53 minutes live. Sorry about that interruption. You guys have any last questions for Dan or I or anyone else that would love to comment or answer questions in the comment box, or the chat section, I should say. And also, if you watch this later as a replay, I know some of you guys are working or aren't available right now, but would still like to join in, and you have a topic that you want us to talk about tomorrow, just drop it in the chat and I'll see it and I'll add it to the queue for tomorrow's 30 for 30. If you don't know, they are every night for the next 20, we're on day 7, so we got 22, 23 days left. And they're at 9 p.m. Eastern. So, and if you can't make 9 p.m. Eastern, they're always up for replay. And one little caveat that I wanted to let everyone know, there's been some glitches with YouTube in the last few days. And one of them is the video immediately goes up for replay, but the live chat doesn't actually show up until the video processes. And YouTube has been very glitchy, very slow. Sometimes that can take 2 to 4 hours for the video to process. So if we talk about something or reference something in the video and you can't find it and you're watching it on your phone or a tablet or your computer on replay and the live chat is not available, just check back 5 or 6 hours later. And if there's a link or a name or something in there, the live chat will appear. It just doesn't always do it immediately. Any other questions, guys? Thank you guys. I appreciate the support. Dan says, tell your friends. Yes, tell your friends. Every night, 9 p.m. Usually we only go for 30 minutes, but if there's a good turnout and good questions, good commentary, we'll stay as long as needed to help anybody who needs help. CC Chen says, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. It was a pleasure having you. Any other last questions, guys? Any topics you want me to put on the list for tomorrow? I'd love to start the show with something that you guys want to hear rather than me just rambling along, you know. Thank you, Nene. I'm glad to see you here. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, everyone that came from the Niacin group. Dan says, who came from my group? So if you're a part of the Niacin Facebook group that Dan's a member of, I just got the invite today, and I spent maybe 5 or 10 minutes poking around in there. And I noticed that he contributes a lot to people's questions, people with health troubles, people that really don't know how to proceed forward, that have found themselves in a, a poor health predicament. So how many of you guys know Dan from that group and joined tonight? We've got some habitual watchers on here, like, I've got some guys that come in all the time, like Truth Provider and Chet. I don't know what happened to Lizzie and Josh. They were here first, I think the first night, and they were trying to do their sauna protocol at the same time as the show, and it kind of seems like maybe that didn't work out. Missed the whole thing because I didn't realize you were on Eastern. Hem of his garment. Well, that's all right. We're doing 30 days of this, so no worries. And these are up for replay. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can find the playlist that says 30 for 30, and every single day is in there. So you can, okay. Hem from his garment. You're in the Niacin group? That's awesome. Deputy Dues from the Niacin group. Dan's the man. That's great. Dan says, I'm a moderator of the Niacin B3 discussions group. Yeah, there's supposed to be some really good stuff in there. So if you guys don't have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. It's getting late here, my time. I'm on Eastern. I know some of you guys are on the West Coast, but I'm going to grab a cold shower. Like I say, if there's anything that you want for tomorrow's show, throw it in the chat, throw it in the comments, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, everyone, for attending. It's been great.